All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down a really interesting logical argument for the oneness of God, and it all boils down to one single powerful concept: infinity. We're walking through a text by Jakob Keller that kind of frames this big theological idea as, well, a matter of pure reason. The whole thing kicks off with maybe the biggest question there is, a question we've all probably asked ourselves at some point. Why are we even here? Why did God create us? It's a huge place to start, but that's where the logic begins. And the answer we're given is, well, it's incredibly direct. The reason we were created by God is because nothing else could have done it. Simple as that. The power to create belongs to one being and one being only. So that's the big claim. Now let's unpack the logic that gets us there. So everything hangs on this one word: infinity. But what does that really mean in this argument? It's not just a number that goes on forever. Think of it as the ultimate state of being, something that is completely without limits. It contains everything, every single thing, every dimension, all of time, all of space. No start, no finish. Grasping this definition is the absolute key to the whole thing. Okay, so if infinity truly contains everything, then by its very own definition, there's just no room for a second one, right? I mean, think about it. If one thing already takes up all the space, all the dimensions, literally all of existence, where would you even put a second one? You can't. It's a logical impossibility. There can only be one. And the next logical step from that is, if this being is infinite, it can't be contained by things like time and space. It has to exist beyond them. And because it encompasses everything, it can't lack anything. It doesn't need anything. By its very nature, it has to be completely self-sufficient. And from this one idea of a single limitless being, all of these other attributes just kind of flow out as logical necessities. It's not just a list of beliefs, it's a chain of reason. If you're infinite, you must have infinite power, al-Qadir. You must have the infinite ability to create, al-Khaliq. And of course, if you encompass everything, then you must be the owner of everything, al-Malik, and the ultimate source of all knowledge, al-Alim. It all connects. So to make this super clear, let's draw a line in the sand. On one side, you've got the finite. That's us. That's our reality. Things that have edges, limits, things you can measure and contain. And on the other side, you have the infinite, the creator, limitless, and by definition, something that can't be contained. This contrast is everything. Okay, so here is the basic rule that's going to guide the next few analogies. It's a really simple idea from logic. A smaller thing, a subset, can exist inside a bigger thing, the superset. But that smaller thing can never ever contain the bigger thing it's a part of. Let's make that more concrete. Just picture this. A plate sits on a table. The table can hold lots of plates, no problem. But could you ever fit the entire table onto that one plate? Of course not. It's impossible. The finite object, the plate, just can't contain the larger object it's a part of. Or, here's another way to look at it. A tiny kitten can curl up in its mother's embrace, totally safe and contained. But there is no physical way for the larger mother cat to fit inside the tiny kitten. Again, the smaller being cannot contain the larger one. Simple, right? And this is where those analogies hit home. That same exact principle applies to our own minds. Our intellect, our perception, our consciousness, all of it is finite. We are the plate. We are the kitten. So how could we possibly expect our limited, finite minds to fully grasp or contain the nature of something that is truly infinite? It means there will always be a limit to what we can understand. The source text then points to Scripture to build on his very idea. This verse from the Quran suggests that knowledge isn't something we just figure out on our own. It's framed as something that's been taught to us, a gift passed down from the infinite creator to his finite creation. We only know what we know because we were taught. And this example makes the distinction so clear. You can have the knowledge, right? You can know the chemical formula for water is H2O, but just knowing that doesn't give you the infinite creative power, al-Khaliq, to actually manifest water out of thin air from hydrogen and oxygen. There's a huge gap between knowing the recipe and having the power to create the meal. And this verse takes it all a step further. It suggests that this creative power isn't just about our physical bodies. It extends to our actions, our deeds, the very things we do. The finite being and everything it does are all encompassed within the creative will of the infinite. So, this brings us full circle right back to the core of the whole argument. We've used logic and analogies to show that the finite cannot contain the infinite. Therefore, if an infinite being exists, nothing can contain it. And if nothing can contain it, then there is no space, no dimension, no possibility left for a second infinite being to exist. The logic is sealed. After laying out this entire chain of reasoning, from that very first question to this final point, the author arrives at a personal testimony. It isn't just presented as a leap of faith, but as the inevitable destination you arrive at when you follow the logic all the way to the end. And it all culminates in this one powerful, definitive statement: there is no God but God. It's the ultimate summary of the entire argument, that based on the pure logic of what infinity means, there can only be one, a simple concept that leads to a truly profound conclusion.